In the dim vaults of forgotten history, machines forged from iron and malice awaited those deemed guilty. Screams echoed through stone walls as flesh yielded to unyielding cruelty. The rack stretching limbs, the bull roasting alive from within. What madness birthed these infernal creations? Their secrets linger in the shadows, whispering of humanity's darkest depths, daring you to listen closer. Welcome to Grimoryx, where the instruments of agony unveil history's unspoken horrors. The rack, a medieval nightmare born in Europe's dark ages, stretched victims' bodies to breaking point. Invented to extract confessions, its wooden frame and iron rollers pulled limbs apart inch by inch, bones cracking under relentless torque. Kings and inquisitors wielded it mercilessly, leaving survivors crippled. Yet in the silence after the screams, one wonders. What truths were twisted from such pain? The Iron Maiden, a spiked sarcophagus from 19th century myths, yet rooted in medieval terror, enclosed victims in a coffin-like embrace. Doors slammed shut, impaling flesh on inward points, avoiding vital organs for prolonged agony. Though debated as hoax, its legend chilled courts across Europe. In the hush of closing lids, did the screams echo eternal judgment or mere fabrication? The breaking wheel, a gruesome execution tool from ancient Rome to 19th century Germany, shattered bones with iron bars while the victim was strapped to a cartwheel. Limbs threaded through spokes, then bludgeoned. Death came slow amid public spectacle, symbol of justice or barbarity. As the wheel turned, crowds cheered, but the fractured echoes begged for mercy long denied. The pair of anguish, a pear-shaped metal device from the 16th century France, was inserted into orifices and expanded with a screw, tearing tissue from within. Used on blasphemers and liars, it symbolized internal punishment. Victims' muffled cries filled chambers as petals bloomed in blood. Was this justice's bloom, or cruelty's silent flower, forever etched in shadow? Judas' cradle, a pyramid-shaped stool from Spanish Inquisition, lowered victims onto its point, gravity doing the gruesome work over hours. Weight tore delicate tissues, infection followed agony. Accused heretics dangled in despair, confessions spilling with blood. In candlelit cells, this betrayal device mocked faith, leaving scars that time itself could not heal. The Brazen Bull, crafted by Perilaus for Sicilian tyrant Phalaris in the 6th century BC, was a hollow bronze statue where victims roasted alive. Screams transformed through pipes into bull roars, amusing the crowd. Fire beneath, smoke from nostrils, cruelty disguised as art. As flames danced, did the inventor's own fate inside it whisper ironic justice? Scold's Bridle, a 16th century Scottish muzzle for gossipy women, locked an iron bit in the mouth with a spiked plate pressing the tongue. Public humiliation parades ensued, silencing nags amid jeers. Blood and tears mixed in the streets. This gender-targeted torment reflected societal fears, but in its rusting frame, whose voice was truly caged. Heretic's fork, a double-pronged collar from the Inquisition, pierced chin and sternum if the head dropped, forcing upright agony. Accused of heresy, endured sleepless nights, whispers of confession breaking the silence. Metal against bone in dim cells. This fork of faith tested devotion, yet in its cruel bite, doubt gnawed deeper than steel. Thumb screws, simple yet vicious vices from medieval Europe, crushed fingers between metal plates with turning screws. Portable torment for interrogations, bone splintered under pressure. Nobles and commoners alike felt its grip, secrets yielding to pain. In the twist of iron, power revealed its fragility, leaving mangled hands as silent witnesses to injustice. The pillory, a wooden frame locking head and hands in public stocks from colonial America to medieval England, invited humiliation and assault. Rotten fruit, stones. Crowds vented fury on the trapped. Days of exposure led to dehydration, injury. This device of shame bound society's outcasts, but in their bowed heads who truly stood judged. The garrote, a Spanish strangling device evolved from chair to iron collar. Tightened a screw to crush the neck slowly. Used in executions until the 20th century, it promised quick death, but often prolonged suffocation. Witnesses averted eyes as life ebbed. This silent killer enforced law, yet its twist left questions hanging in the air. Cat's paw, a clawed iron rake from medieval times, tore flesh in strips during interrogations. Heated or cold, it ripped skin from muscle, exposing raw agony. Victims' howls filled halls as tormentors peeled away resistance. This feline mimicry of cruelty clawed at humanity's core, leaving ragged wounds that scarred more than bodies. Spanish donkey, a wedge-shaped board from the Inquisition, straddled victims with weights on legs, splitting the body downward. Gravity and iron pulled relentlessly, tearing groin and spine. Screams rose as flesh gave way. This equine impostor mocked mobility. But in its sharp edge, power's weight crushed more than bones. Knee splitter, a spiked vice from medieval Germany, clamped and crushed kneecaps with Turner handles. Blades pierced joints, rendering legs useless. Used on thieves and rebels, pain forced betrayal. Limbs mangled in iron's embrace. This device knelt no one in prayer, only in broken surrender, echoing cries of lost mobility. Head crusher, a helmet-like vice from Renaissance Europe, slowly compressed the skull with a chin plate and screw. Eyes bulged, teeth shattered, brains oozed under pressure. Interrogators watched life fade in grim detail. This crown of torment ruled no kingdom. Only the realm of despair, where thoughts turned to pulp. Breast ripper, a clawed iron tool heated red-hot from witch hunts, tore breasts from accused women in brutal extractions. Symbolizing punishment for adultery or heresy, it left horrific mutilation. Screams pierced the night as flesh sizzled. This gendered horror clawed at innocence, whispering of fears that burned deeper than fire. Crocodile shears, heated pincers from ancient Rome, snipped heated metal through genitals or fingers of traitors. Searing cut cauterized as it maimed, prolonging suffering. Emperors delighted in the spectacle. This reptilian bite snapped loyalty. But in its glowing jaws, betrayal's true pain was forged in fire and shadow. Tongue tirer, a pincer device from the Middle Ages, gripped and ripped out tongues of blasphemers. Jaws clamped, then yanked, muting voices forever. Blood-flooded mouths in sacred halls. This silencer of speech enforced orthodoxy. But in the gory pull, words unspoken lingered like ghosts in the quiet. Rat torture, a method using caged rodents on the abdomen from ancient China to medieval Europe, heated the cage to drive rats burrowing into flesh for escape. Gnawing through intestines, panic ensued. Victims writhed as life drained. This vermin vengeance turned nature against man, burrowing secrets that surfaced in horror. Impalement, a stake driven through the body from Vlad the Impaler's Wallachia, left victims skewered alive on poles. Slow death by gravity displayed as warning. Birds pecked at wounds amid fields of stakes. This vertical terror pierced empires, but in the dangling silence, fear's root grew deep. Soaring, a method hanging victims upside down and soaring from groin to head in ancient Persia, allowed blood to keep consciousness longer. Saw teeth ground through bone and organ. Spectators watched the halves fall. This bisecting brutality divided more than bodies, cleaving history's moral fabric in two. Flaying, skinning alive with knives from Assyrian empires, peeled flesh in sheets for display. Victims survived hours in excruciating exposure. Walls adorned with human hides warned enemies. This stripping of self bared the soul. But in the raw unveiling, Civilization's veneer proved thin as skin. Boiling, immersing in cauldrons of oil or water from medieval laws, cooked flesh from bone in public spectacles. Bubbles rose with screams, skin sloughing away, punished counterfeiters and poisoners endured the scald. This liquid fire purged sins. But in the steam's rise, mercy evaporated like water. Crucifixion, nailing to crosses from Roman times, stretched bodies in sun, breaking legs to hasten death. Asphyxiation came slow amid mockery. Jesus' fate immortalized it, but thousands suffered anonymously. This elevated agony lifted victims to view, yet in the hanging shadow, humanity's cross bore the weight of cruelty. These devices, forged in the fires of fear and power, remind us that history's shadows hide humanity's capacity for horror. Their rusted forms fade, but the echoes of agony persist, like candles guttering in endless night. What lessons linger in the dark? Like if these shadows stirred your soul, comment your darkest historical curiosity and subscribe for more whispers from the past. Until the next device awakens from history's grave, I'll be here in the flickering dark.